It's that time. The November-December issue of the DARC Mag just dropped, and I am here today to walk you through everything that's in these 51 pages of drift epicness. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Troy. This is RoadsideRC. You'll tend to find me bashing or crawling or drifting or racing, plus doing product review videos and how-tos. Let's get started with where they always start, the chassis that people have sent in to showcase. There's 8 pages through the front here, and at first I was really kind of excited, if I'm honest, because I saw stuff like the Kyosho Phaser D2, there is a Sakura D3, Carvin Thompson, Mr. RC cut and paste graphics himself. This is the Ricky Drift 2.0. I was like, oh, look at this. They've always done like high-end builds in here. Maybe they went to some budget stuff. Nope. Here's a MST RMX that probably got $3,000 in, stuff like that. So still what you see in here is a lot of people who have taken, even if it's a higher end chassis or a more basic chassis, and gone through and given a whole lot of information, a whole lot of upgrades, really kind of tuned it to their own. I think honestly the one that's always fun to me here is the Baola chassis. One of our local guys had one for a little while. That thing it's just fun because of how unique and different it was. It then transitions into the Scale Artist Showcase, which is always a place that I drool and have a lot of respect because I do not have these skills at all. But Josh Geeg here with his S15, amazing looking. But what's really special, Chris, this is my local buddy, Chris. You'll maybe even recognize this. He calls it the Behemoth K5 from some of our videos. He first had it. He and I went down to USTE, and I think it was 2023, and he brought it with us at that time, drifted it around the track that was there. That's actually, I think, where this picture was taken from. And he won the best motor in the kind of like scale showcase that they have there. This thing is epic. I'm really thinking maybe Chris and I need to get together and do just a whole dedicated video to this. It's an MST front end with like a crawler AR44 solid axle rear end, and with a square body on it with details, a cage in the back, everything, lights. It's quite a unique build that he made there. And what's really cool is if you flip over a couple pages, wait, this is him too. This is his 180SX, the Chair Slayer. This is a more recent thing that he did. Handmade the wing, stuff like that. It looks really good. And then yet again, Chris just went all out. Here's one of the 24K bodies that he's done, S14.9. Recently had this out at one of our events. So shout out to Chris, buddy. I've known him for a while now, and always does great bodies. He's done a couple of the ones that I have. The ones that actually look good are the ones that he's done for me, and really excited to see him in the magazine. So Chris, good job, man. This article right here is kind of fun. All I want for Driftmas. So what is it here? About 8 people that wrote in or they interviewed that talked about kind of what they would want for Christmas this year related to RC drift. Of course, motors, paint booths, specific upgrade parts. But I'm really curious, what is on your list? As I film this, it's actually coming up on the Black Friday big Cyber Monday sales and all that. What is it that you're hoping to be able to pick up with some of the sales and deals? Leave them down in the video comments. I'm scouring and I'm trying to constantly share, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, or as posts on the YouTube channel. Anytime that I find really good deals, I try to share those out to the community. But it'd be really helpful if I knew kind of what you folks were looking for, so that if I can specifically keep my eye out and share those whenever I see them. A short article here talking about judging in RC drift competitions. I know I've personally tried to do it a couple times and have been very, very intimidated. Being the one that everybody looks at to make the call, there's a lot of pressure there. So yes, shout out to the judges and kind of what it takes and what you learn by being a judge. In this issue, the old school corner is really interesting. It talks about, how some folks got started a little bit, but it quickly pivots into speed of RC drifting. And are we screwing up by mimicking a little bit more of like the Formula Drift speed kind of mentality, instead of everybody having the target of being faster and beating the other guy and getting in their door? Like, how do you instead create that culture of like, we're all just here to have fun? And I find this topic really kind of interesting because I know I personally struggle with it a little bit. That constant need and feel that I need to find that little bit of extra speed so that I can get in everybody's door that's at the track. Now, I'll be honest, I have a little bit of a personal bias as well too, because half the time there's a camera stuck to my car and I want to get in someone's door to capture that cool shot, and I can't do it if I'm too slow. But that aside, there is some negative thing about always trying to be the fastest. Whereas they talk about in the article where one of the folks leading a track kind of set a speed limit in a way. And if anybody was too fast, you had to swap tires or change your setup or something so that everybody could be roughly the same speed and just have fun. Personally, when I think back through all the times in which I've had the most fun, it hasn't necessarily been when I was chasing someone down and I was a lot faster than them. It was all the times in which we were basically the same speed. So it is curious. I know from our local track, one of the ways that we can try to control that is put everybody on the same tire and then have the faster guys help the slower guys and tune their cars to be a little bit slower, help the slower guys tune their cars to be a little bit faster. I know that's a thing, but maybe it's easier said than done. I don't know. I'm just curious for you folks out there, what is your local track like? Is it more all about who can be the fastest around it? Or have you been able to create that vibe where everybody is trying to be the same speed and that's actually the goal? I'd be curious. Maybe I need to come visit some of these tracks. Leave me a note down in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Page 32 and 33 here is about a final bout event that happened up in Wisconsin. Sounds like it was an absolute blast. Only thing missing from this article is when are the 2026 dates so that I can plan and try to get a road trip going. Cross Games down in Texas where the Team Overdose came in. Article covers a little bit about kind of the conversations and the vibe that was there. Really nice. And then going into the SDC Worlds, which was recently completed right before this. Multiple pages here talking about, again, what happened, how the event is made possible. It really interesting read there. A shout out to Mr. Brad from RC Supremacy from down in Florida. Basically, in my opinion, the king when it comes to any kind of micro drifting stuff. Whole couple pages here spread talking about growth, the new parts, the evolving nature of the micro drift scene, and how maybe it's time. Maybe it's time they're starting to get more ready to drift vehicles. They're starting to be able to build stuff out. I actually have a video where I show specifically Brad's track in his garage. It is amazing, and you can have a full drift city on a tabletop compared to a huge room. And if you're ever looking for getting into the micro drift scene, RC Supremacy clearly the place that you need to go. Very intriguing article here about Tyler and creating this whole RC drift rig where he can chase people around with this DJI camera and track their movements and get some really cool epic shots. If you ever haven't seen some of the Scale Magic stuff, really fun video clips that come out of this. Former Drift King, former champion Miko Yang, interview with him about his history, multi-year history of drifting all over the world. What is it like? What is some of his tips and tricks that he would tell anybody coming in new? Really interesting article to hear his background and his story. And then speaking of a track, like we were talking about earlier, one that may be a little bit less focused on speed, a little bit more focused on the vibe and the event and the having fun with each other. This is Scale Science, Denver, Colorado. I actually have been meaning to come over here so much. They have their potluck matsuris. They have some different events that they hold every year. Everything I've heard about it has been great. Sounds like the vibe of the track is great. And that's all they wrote, folks. All of the normal advertisers, stuff like that in there. Multiple pages of advertising so you can see all the different companies. Shout out still to the folks, the whole team that's putting on this DARC Mag. If you want this magazine, QR code, I will just DARCMag.com. You can actually now set up a subscription and everything, get it mailed to you. I know I've got mine done. If you are interested in seeing what's actually in these magazines, check out either your local hobby shop, see if they have any, or go on the DARC Mag website and start getting yours ordered. Thanks for watching, folks, and goodbye.